Oh, sorry. You might have to start that over. We lost you.
No! Like immediately.
Yeah!
Immediately lost you.
I just got the little internet warning and then it went away. Do you hear me now?
We hear you now. Yeah.
You're totally perfect now.
Cool. Love that for us, guys. Love that for us. This podcast brought to you by technical difficulties.
Is it ghosts? Is it the heat? Is it a monsoon storm coming in? We don't fucking know.
Is it my shitty
do not like
internet
you talking
provider?
about it.
No. I think it's actually the fact that the city we live in has only one internet provider, so they just don't have to give good service.
They don't have to do a damn thing they don't want to do. They're like, nah, we don't. Infrastructure? What's that? Who cares?
That doesn't exist.
I don't need that. So yeah, apologies in advance for this recording, but I have a toddler and it's hard to reschedule, so we're gonna power through. And hope for the best. Yeah. All right. Intro time. Okay. So, as I was saying before my internet so rudely interrupted, if I told you guys that for our tour in this episode, we would be going to one of Arizona's more haunted hotels, where do you think we would be checking in at?
I want to go with the San Carlos here in Phoenix, but I'm not sure that one before.
Ooh, we're gonna have to
I have heard that the
dish
hotel
that one out.
I've heard that the Hotel St. Michel in Prescott is quite haunted as well. It has a couple haunted rooms there.
Nice.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that.
Well, it's almost a trick question because there are a shocking number of haunted hotels in Arizona.
Yeah.
Like, as I was kind of looking through just my short list of places I wanted to look into, not even my long list of places that I was like kind of bandying about, like there were quite a few of them. But the one that really caught my attention was the Oliver House in Bisbee, Arizona.
Ooh, I've never heard of that one.
And that's why we picked it. So, hello all, I am Amber, and tonight I will be your tour guide for the episode of Murderous, Mysterious, and Macabre, where I will be taking Amy and Joe, my co-hosts, on a tour of all of the haunted happenings in the Oliver House. And then just a quick reminder that you can find content warnings for this episode in the show notes. So make sure to check those out before we go too much further if you're squeamish. Just saying.
Squeamish. Not sure I'm like that.
Well, I'm it's not an Amy episode, so
that's fair. But it is hauntings, so you never know.
There are dead people involved.
It's not usually happy people that haunt. So
yeah,
these ones definitely not. So
boy,
yes.
And this one really, really stuck out at me, and not just because it is a very affordable haunted stay. Yes, that was
don't threaten me with a good time.
One of the things that popped out almost instantly is like rooms under $100 a night. Like, come stay at our haunted B&B.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Great. Wait! It's a B&B
next trip, guys.
Guys, no, ghosts are one thing, but talking to the hosts as they serve me breakfast is a whole different thing. I'll do the ghost.
I need extra anxiety meds for that. Yeah.
Well, luckily,
not gonna go well.
So luckily, it's not like it's not like an Airbnb where you're staying in someone's room. It's just a classic bed and breakfast, so a little bit bigger. And so with that, let's talk a little bit about the Oliver House. So you guys can go ahead. Oh, actually, I'm going to make you wait. I'm going to paint you a picture first with my word voice. Yeah, I know.
So
I thought don't get too antsy, and I was like, no, I want to make you guys picture it in your head first, and then kind of see what it looks like. So
valid. That's valid.
The Oliver House is a large 2-story boxy brick lodge style building out in Bisbee. It kind of oversees Main Street, but is not directly on Main Street. It's close enough that you are definitely looking down over it, though. And secluded enough that the main entrance is actually only accessible through a narrow footbridge that takes you up onto a hilltop surrounded by trees.
I was going to say, this has to be on a hill if you're overlooking Main Street.
Yeah.
With that lovely imagery, please go ahead to your first page of pictures. And we'll link a lot of our pictures in the show notes below. So if you're listening to us, you can
first of all, can I say, I love that small town Bisbee. I mean, it's also an artist town, but Pride flags! Yes!
Pride flags! I'm so excited!
Love it! Love it already.
At least
Get
you know
girls trip. This is where we're
the
going.
The owners got to be cool. Bare minimum. They can't be that bad, right?
I might be fine with talking to them then. Yes.
Yes.
I might still panic and get a little heart rate monitor thing on my watch, but it'll be great.
The ghost Joe has no problem with, but the living people, that's where we have issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see it is an actual footbridge right below. So it's definitely it was crazy. I was looking for it doing a Google Earth walking tour myself to get up to it. And it is just like a parking lot. And then you walk up essentially a hill. So it's got this beautiful large front porch with pillars that support this huge balcony that takes up, I kid you not, the entire front wall of the building. So an entire side of it. It's also got very long hallways and closed off rooms. It was built a while back. Fun fact, there are 13 bedrooms in the Oliver House.
Right number?
Yep, just the right number to be haunted, right?
Yeah.
4 set up with private bathrooms and the other 9 that share kind of communal bathrooms. So they each kind of share one of 4 bathrooms. But they are all very, it's not like a college dorm share. They're all individual bathrooms. It's just 2 rooms and then a bathroom between them kind of situation. And then you just take turns going in and out. So let's back up a little bit and talk about Bisbee itself. So understanding Bisbee kind of helps us understand why and how this particular building got to be here. So Bisbee got its start in about 1877 when a civilian trader named Jack Dunn found signs of copper along with
shocker.
Copper State, so it ain't so. But he saw signs of copper, lead, and silver, and so he staked a mining claim in the Mule Mountains in southern Arizona. And that's,
Mountains.
Mule. Yeah. Not to be confused with the Moscow variety. So
we do have wild mules here, wild donkeys.
Especially down in southern Arizona, I think. So
and north of us too. There's still signs on places of the I-17 that say be aware there's wild mule crossings, essentially.
Yep.
And people are there is not. I'm eventually
yes, there are.
Right?
Yes. Just because you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But no, so this one is definitely not as creatively named of a geographical location. Somebody just was there's a mule, that's a hill, Mule Hill.
There we go.
That's how we got here today. But so he was there as kind of a reconnaissance. It's a weird story. So we zoom out a little bit further, and in this situation, there is this reconnaissance detail for not a true military branch, but some kind of Wild West branch of something frontiersmen. And they sent out a detail to look for quote unquote renegade Apaches in the area.
Awesome.
So
they
sent this recon detail out to see if there are people there. Literally no other context in the sources I read. I could have done a deep dive, but then I felt like I would get depressed. So I didn't.
More than likely, it's
yeah,
because more than likely they were trying to round up just random factions and push them into reservations.
And I know that there
fucking
has
white
been
men.
and I know there's been a lot of stories the Apaches of that time were like, you know, they fought back. So it's definitely very much could have been.
As was their right to do.
Yeah. Well, yes. But
not.
So it's like you never
well for them. So,
It didn't end well for either party. Yeah. So I have no context if it's like you know, one side started it in a very bad way and then it escalated, or if it was just a like, we want to take this land out from under you. And like, yes, that's the crux of all of it. Like, I don't know what the reconnaissance was. Like, I know that there's a lot of instances of like, you know, attacks that aren't even just towards, you know, they get everybody on both sides. So I have no idea what the context is. Like I said, I was not digging that deep because I wanted to stick close to the Oliver house. That's the story is that he was part of this recon detail.
In my mind, it can be like they went out there to look for Indians, and instead they found copper and got distracted, and everybody lived happily ever after apart.
That's like,
I know it's not true, but I will grasp onto that.
Happy thought.
He didn't seem that into the reconnaissance detail because he saw like traces of like literally copper, lead, and silver, and was like, well, this seems like a much better deal. I literally don't even know what happened to him regarding the reconnaissance detail afterwards. Like, none of the articles I read really felt like mentioning that. So I don't know if he was just like, all right, boys, I'll see you through to the end here.
Peace
keep
out.
this little nugget to myself and then I'm gone. Or if like they were just traipsing through and he was just like, hold up. And then he was like, you guys go on ahead. I'll catch you never. Like, I just don't know. But he eventually ends up staking a claim. And once he does, other mining claims kind of follow suit, sending prospectors and speculators, like just a bunch of people kind of flooding the area because it seems like, and especially in Arizona, with claims like they get thrown up so quickly in the Southwest. And then, you know, they dry up and then you're on to the next thing. And that's like the only way you're making money out here. So as soon as one claim comes in, like the area just gets flooded with people coming in. So yes, are we surprised it's another mining town? I'm not.
No.
Like, we know where we're going. So, numerous rich ore bodies were found in Bisbee, leading to its nickname, which is the Queen of the Copper Camps. Which is how another very famous, very haunted hotel, the Copper Queen, later
That's
gets
what I was
its
going to
name.
say.
That's
a hotel.
That one I have heard of.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is one that is like, so fun fact. Maybe we'll circle back to the Copper Queen one day and someday. That is the hotel I almost started looking in until I found this little Airbnb in the same city as it that people had said was equally, if not more haunted than the Copper Queen. And I was like, well, tell me about that one then.
Yeah. Well, I'm all for a small business. So let's go.
I love to support me a small business. That's true.
Yeah.
So here we have our Bisbee just getting started, and on January 9th of 1902, a city charter was approved for the city of Bisbee, and it was incorporated. So that makes Bisbee, Arizona, a Capricorn, I believe.
Yes,
you want to get technical. So.
Only the best.
Oh gosh,
very callous,
that means
little capricious.
It's not at all a neurotic, crazy state or city, I'm sure.
Oh, and you know, if it had any influence on like what went down in the Oliver house, like, well, we will see.
Oh boy,
we will see the neurotic.
Oh boy,
it shines through. So with this, a temporary city council was formed to work on like needed civic improvements, and then by 1910, it became the largest city in this territory with 25,000 people. So not for back in the day, back in like 19.
That's pretty good.
That's big.
Pretty booming for Bisbee, Arizona. I don't know that I've ever been to Bisbee. Similar, Amy, to your episode this month. Like, it's a place I don't think I've actually ever been to. Maybe passed through, but I don't know that I've ever actually like been in Bisbee, Arizona. So
I have not either, but it's actually a place that I want to go. I've heard wonderful things about it. Yep. Everybody I know who's been there is just absolutely adores it. I'm going to Google something right now while we're on here, and I'll tell you guys if I'm right.
Current day, it's a cute little, like, artist predominant town. There's little shops all over the place. Like, people love to go there just, like, for the atmosphere of it. And I also surprisingly have never been there. But it's a place I would love to visit. So again, after the Jerome trip, this is the next one. So we got 2 girls trips based in Arizona now.
Yeah.
And I have the perfect one because I was 1,000% right. There is what, I don't know, I wouldn't say they're famous for it, but what they're very well known for now, today, is they have a glamping site, a luxury glamping accommodation site that you can go and like they have like wood floors on the big glamping tent and like an actual bed, and it's like a destination thing to do for like a quick weekend trip.
And that is the closest I will get Amy and Amber to actually camping.
Oh, yes, for sure, because there's a real bathroom and there's a real floor and there's a real bed. So I will go to glamping in Bisbee, Arizona.
I just want running water. I just want to be able to like flush a toilet and take a shower.
That is fair.
I don't think that asks for too much.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, absolutely, like camping trips where we hung a trash bag on a tree and just poked holes in it with a knife to create a shower after it heated up for a little while. That was fine. Now that I'm an adult, that's a lot of extra work. And especially if like you're camping with friends and they bring their kids, like that's just extra on top of it. If I go with just a few people, regular like backwoodsy camping is fine. But if I'm going with a party of people, I prefer to have running water.
It's just easier. And I am like, okay, nice. So we'll do a night glamping. We'll do a night,
and then we'll visit the haunted B&B. Like we'll do it all.
We'll do it all, honestly. And then I totally think these will be 2 lovely trips. We might do this one even first, depending on when we do our trips, just because it is in Southern Arizona. So would highly, if you are going to visit the Oliver House in Bisbee, Arizona, would highly recommend waiting till like winter time, because you do not want to go south in summer. Especially if you're not used to the heat. Like if you live in a hot state, like you'll probably be fine. Like you just happen to be there, but
lived here my entire life, still not used to the heat. I get heat sick very easily. I was definitely born in the wrong fucking place. I cannot be outside without water and a fan for like more than 20 minutes or I will have issues.
Well, that's because we have literal oven temperatures in this state, and the wind is hot, and you hit,
cool water feels like bath water.
Yes. By the time you hit July, like you are just in 30 straight days of excessive heat warnings. So if that's not a come to Arizona advertisement I've ever seen.
And back in the early 1900s, people settled here before there was air conditioning, before like
no AC, no running water. Like what the fuck were you people thinking?
Well, that's my favorite is like the origin of an Arizona room, which is like a screened-in porch on your house.
Yes, it's basically like a screened-in sunroom
outside at night because it was the only way
cool air. Yeah.
And it's like, why? And then, like,
why did you live here?
Yeah. Most of these places are like, well, it's okay.
Fucking copper and silver, man. That's why.
We can't keep crops, but, like, at least the flash flood comes through once a year and, like, waters everything. It took little Johnny away last month, but that's fine.
Literally. People swept away in it. They have to close down highways and roadways because of flooding. Like,
oh my God. Oh my God.
But, you know, copper, baby.
Such is life.
Yep.
Such is life.
Such is life.
Quick tangent.
Trying to make a quick butt.
I worked at a museum in college for a little while that was funded by the college, and we had, like, it was connected to the Adobe Dam. So anytime there was any sort of moisture, it could literally, like, they could open those gates and flood that spillway at any time. And I would regularly have to tell people, like, no, you cannot go down into the spillway whenever you want. I don't care there's not a cloud in the sky. They could open that at any moment and you get washed away.
Yes.
So many people I'd have to tell that to. And also, like, it was just like lava rock in the spillway, basically. Like, there's tons of fucking desert animals that would be in there that could very well kill you. There's rattlesnakes, there's Gila monsters, there's scorpions. Just don't fucking do it. And constantly people were like, but I have tennis shoes on, so it's fine. No!
No.
It's not.
No, it's not.
Oh my god.
Taking their kids down in this thing. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Well, I saw like a coyote carcass down here. I'm like, I don't care. Fucking get out of that shit.
That's even less reason to take your kids down.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If a coyote is dead in there, you definitely don't want to be in there.
Yeah,
they are like the top predator here.
Yeah,
so
what do you think killed the coyote, dumbass?
Other than mountain lions, that's it. Like, no.
Well, also, I just want you to take a moment to think to yourself, like, if this coyote that is adapted to live here died here.
Maybe it's not the best place to visit.
What do you think you and your $200 tennis shoes are gonna do?
Exactly.
Yeah. But
exactly.
Yeah. Something.
Fucking people, man. Anyway, continue.
So anyway, come to Arizona. It's great. We have so many fun.
We have so many things that will kill you
to do here. It'll be a moment you never forget.
Probably.
True.
Rude. That was rude of me.
But accurate.
So, Bisbee, 1910. We are popping, mining copper, silver, lead. 25,000 people. That's a lot. Trying to get myself back on track to find my notes. So we have the Oliver House. This is where our Oliver House finally comes in. So between 1902, when it's incorporated and we're getting this like temporary city council, and 1910, when it becomes like the super big city, we have the Oliver House, which starts to be built in 1908 and is officially opened in 1909. So it was built actually by Edith Ann Oliver, who was the wife of mining tycoon Henry Oliver. And she is largely, I'm sure it was built like with his money, but she is largely credited as the builder of it because she oversaw all of the construction. Like this.
Well, he was too busy mining.
Yeah.
So
he had mining shit to do, and she decided that essentially, and she like, I think very smart, like early city planning kind of mentality, like very cool. But she decided, she was like, well, it's getting bigger. Like my husband, this mining tycoon, like we have these mining officers essentially, or just people, not officers, executives. We have these executives in our mining corporation, and we need them to have offices and like a place to live. That's kind of outside of just like a standard mining camp. Like they need something a little bit bigger. So she decided to take on this project, to give them all like a designated place to stay and work, which is really, really cool, I think. But reportedly, so this is kind of like an alleged thing, but reportedly it is built out of brick. The reason it looks like that today, is because the original building, there's an original building built kind of in that same area in the 1800s, that was burnt in a fire. And because it was so fire prone in that area, she kind of took to overseeing the planning and decided, like, talked to the construction workers and was like, it should be made out of brick because it will prevent, fires from happening and from tearing it down. So, very smart. In general, and pretty effective because it is actually still standing today. So at least you know that it never burnt down.
It worked.
She knew what she was talking about.
Mm-hmm. So it was set up as offices for those executives, and then I guess a specific mining company her husband was a tycoon for was the Calumet in Arizona Mining Company. So there's a little fun factoid for you. And then it was later used as a boarding house for mining employees and Bisbee miners. So after it was offices, I don't have an exact date, but I'm assuming, we went from like these nicer rooms that have like an officer in them using it as a space and like maybe an office to eventually having, I'm gonna guess, a couple minors like boarding in like little bunk beds or something.
Yeah.
So it kind of like switched between the two. And I don't have that exact date. It kind of stays that way, and eventually I didn't get a date on when like the copper mines and stuff dried out in Bisbee. As we know, it's still kind of an active town today. It's like a little artsy town, but it was. Oh, I do have that date. Thank you, past Amber. You're so smart. So the mines actually stayed open. Well, this is why I forgot, because it's kind of really surprising to me. Actually, I'm going to ask you guys. When do you think the mines closed in Bisbee, Arizona?
If it's surprising to you, I'm gonna say like 1930s, 1940s.
So 1910, it was incorporated as a town.
No, that was 1902. It was incorporated.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go totally out on a limb and be like 1985.
Okay, so if we're playing Price is Right rules, it's Joe. But if we're playing just who's closest, it is Amy, because the mines didn't close until 1975. At least what I had in one of my sources. Like, they are still mining for so long. And that's like, so it was, I think it was used as boarding for a while, or like as mining office space and like mixed use space and changing hands a bit, but it kind of stays with the mine until 1975, and then afterwards it really doesn't have a use. So in the 1980s, it sold via a private sale to Dennis Schranz, who wanted to take up the lodge and turn it into a bed and breakfast. And he goes on record saying that he was a complete skeptic until owning the Oliver House.
Of course.
And so if that doesn't give you a little taste of like what is to come, there is that. And if there is a place that's going to be haunted, I definitely believe it, because there is said to be over 26 deaths in the Oliver House.
Wow, that's not a very big house for all those deaths.
It's been around a little over a century, so that's kind of like a quarter of it being around.
Yeah,
and I mean, we are talking miners here, which that is an incredibly dangerous profession that causes prolonged illnesses and all kinds of. So honestly, not that surprising, I guess.
There are, but the funny thing with this one is there are a few deaths, and we don't have names for like all of them. I think some of them are probably just like miners from back in the day, but most of them are actually attributed to a mass murder that occurred on the grounds.
Oh my gosh!
In Bisbee, Arizona, a mass murder.
Color me intrigued.
You sounded
get
awesome.
To this mass murder.
Sorry, I'm all tucking in. All right, I'm ready.
Who would have fucking thought,
I know. I'm telling you, I kind of want to stay here. I wonder
if we crossed wires. I wonder if this is one of the ones I read about and discounted. Proceed.
Oh, I would love to see that. Okay, so you'll have to let us know at the end, or as we're going through, if any of the names sound familiar.
Or maybe on our bonus episode, we'll tell you.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna do a debrief after this. So with that, let's talk about the hauntings / the murders. So with 13 rooms, there are supposed to be around 12 ghosts. So 26 deaths, about 12 ghosts. I don't really have, I didn't count them out. I don't really think I have 12 named ghosts. A few of them are kind of not named, at least in anything I've read. So, and I didn't go digging through death records, I will admit.
So what you're telling me is it's a little dangerous, because they're still missing their 13th ghost.
Yes.
We gotta be very careful. We visit. Being the danger-prone people we are.
We are. Although I don't recall a 13th ghost ever being like the bitter bitchy ghost, so I think I'm safe.
That's fair, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Nobody wants that in the mix. Let's be honest.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants us. It's fine.
Knock on wood. I hope not. Like, I don't want my first ghost hunted. That would be too ironic. I don't want to end up being the ghost on my first ghost hunt.
Yeah, you're like, damn it.
God damn it.
Why did I fucking do this shit?
For all eternity trying to get through to the other side to be like, I need you to listen to this bullshit. Like, no, it's okay. I know how a mic works. Like, I have a podcast. Like,
you guys are famous. We just need to figure out how to harness this technology and get people to turn it on for us, and then we'll be great.
We'll be so good at it. Yeah.
All the EVPs.
All the EVPs. And then eventually the people who come to explore the Oliver house are gonna be like, why won't these ghosts
Well, you shut the fuck up.
I just wish they would do anything else. Come on.
Nope.
No, not going to.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
All right. Let's get into some ghosts, ladies.
Let's get into
some ghosts. With that ratio, as you guys have done the math, that means that just about every room in the hotel is haunted.
Yeah.
It is a little hard, I will admit, to figure out which ones are which, and I will tell you why. So I'm going to tell you for the rest of the story, I'm going to talk about these rooms and these ghosts, and all of the rooms have like names. They're like they're given names, typically like colorful names, or they're referred to by the name of the ghost and stuff like that. But since our friend Dennis Schranz, the Oliver House has taken over new ownership. And whereas towards the end of our little presentation, I'll let you guys look through what the Oliver House previously looked like. But under new ownership, it also needed some kind of upkeep and repair and remodeling. And so a lot of those names, like the namesakes behind them, have been painted over. So it's definitely more like uniform decoration room to room now, and the rooms are all numbered. And if you look on the website, there is one room that is called out, and we'll see why, like when we talk about the ghosts. There's one room that's called out as being like the most haunted, and that one is marked on the website specifically to when you go to book a stay at the Oliver House, but none of the others are called out for like what they used to be and if they're haunted as well. So it's kind of a little hard to match up. If you go to the actual Oliver House website and you're like looking through the rooms, it might be kind of hard to match up some of the stories I'm going to tell you with some of the stories that, or some of the rooms in the Oliver House today. So there's that. FYI. So overall, let's talk about like general vibes of the place first, and then I'll give you guys some like deets room by room. So overall, guests often report phantom footsteps, which is always super fun. Feelings of being watched, and the sounds of, this is my favorite one, the sounds of a phantom party from rooms that are supposed to be empty.
That is like haunted mansion vibes. I love it.
I
love it.
Like literally reminds me so much of Haunted Mansion. And that's probably the happiest of the ghosts that we will get to, frankly. But yes, there are some phantom party sounds. So I don't know if it's like some miners like hanging out because they struck some silver that day, or like what the party situation is, but I want to be there.
I love it. I'm here for it.
The second floor is especially thought to be active, and there's additional reports of doors that are opening and closing without warning, and lights that turn off and on their own. And those are kind of no room specifically given, just like anywhere on the second floor. Like you might see this happen because ghosts.
It's just a thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Brought to you by ghosts.
Brought to you by ghosts. My tagline. No. So let's go through and we're going to talk room by room, and we're going to start with the only numbered room, the only room that you can actually find today to stay at, and what is reported to be the most haunted room of the Oliver House, which is room 13. Lucky number 13 per usual.
Of course.
This is a room that is haunted by Nathaniel Nat Anderson. Nathaniel
damn.
Anderson.
We almost had perfect alliteration there, except for the fucking last name.
I think Nat is like a nickname, so I don't know that that's middle name. He just
Still
goes
dumb.
by Nat for some reason, which is, yes.
Like Nat King Cole. Anderson. Yeah, it's like...
I guess that's true, yeah. And that makes sense because he was a minor who was staying in the Oliver House in 1920. So that kind of, I think that nickname probably tracks for the 20s.
Yeah.
So some fun things about our friend Nat is he was a debtor. So he had a man in town that he owed some money to. And he was also allegedly having an illicit affair with that man's wife.
Oh,
double whammy!
Big
double whammy!
Big mistake.
The literal of biggest mistakes. So essentially what happened is that Nat was found in his room with a gunshot right in his forehead.
Oh.
Yes.
That's some up close and personal right there.
Some very up close and personal. So
style.
The speculation and kind of the word about town was that when the husband who Nat owed money to found out about this affair, he came to Nat's room at the Oliver House to confront him, and he shot him in the head. However, there's a lot of kind of additional things to this story.
Oh boy.
Where it was said that the man who he owed money to kind of tried to stage the place or tried to like throw people off the trail. So around that same time, someone was heard very loudly entering the Oliver House, like making a big commotion, breaking and entering. And there was also another room that had some just small items stolen from it.
Okay.
And because of this, Nat's murder is technically an unsolved mystery. So technically, they know there are no official witnesses that say that this man, who he owed money to and whose wife he was sleeping with, was the one at the house at that time and who killed them. And there's just enough kind of there with the additional robbery that took place and taking of a few valuables to make it look like it was an actual robbery, that it's still up in the air that it could have been just some old burglar who maybe stole from one person and entered his room, and then I do agree it's very up close and personal.
Shot in the head,
so.
Yeah. That doesn't quite
No wonder he's pissed off and haunting it. He's like, motherfuckers, my murder is right here.
Yep, he's right there.
That's like I feel like that's a normal tactic these days for people when they do murders, is to try and stage it to look like it's some random shit that happened. But again, this did not happen in a time where forensics was really huge. So who fucking knows?
Yep. Very true. Who knows if Nat was sleeping with other people's wives? Like, who knows if
that's true.
It wasn't an open secret that this man killed him and people were like, like, I'm not too sad about it. Like, we don't really know.
Very true.
What we do know, and you can go down to the next page, is we do know that Nat is a real person. I get to happily report, because there's a lot of times where ghost stories and hauntings are
death certificate, guys.
Yes. There's a lot of times where hauntings are kind of like just stories. But I found from a great blog actually that went and stayed there, they have Nat's death certificate, and there's a transcription of kind of what is on there, so it gives a little bit more of the details of his murder, and we'll definitely post the full bit on Instagram.
Yeah, so cool.
But so kind of going through, so February 23rd, Nat was killed, and it gives like the whole timeline. So on the evening before his murder, he was at a party at the home of a Mrs. Norris Greeley. It was supposed to be like just a casual affair, like lots of friends hanging out, cards, dancing, kind of just like some of those phantom party sounds, you know, but not at the Oliver house. So he left around 1:00, and then proceeded kind of with someone else. He escorted a Miss Elizabeth King to her home, and then was kind of just wandering around. He ended up at an English kitchen on the main street in Bisbee. He was hanging out there for a little while, and then went home at around 3, 4, and was then murdered. And it does mention the theft. So there was theft of money and a watch from another person who was staying there at the Times room shortly before the shooting, which kind of remains like a puzzling feature they call out of the crime in the death certificate. So there is a lot of kind of speculation about who did it. And there are some implications of the way he was murdered, making it seem like the act of someone who had like a score to settle. But because of the robbery, there is just really no definitive answer in his case. So
no way to know.
That is a pretty fun read. Like I said, we will definitely, if at the very least, we will put up the death certificate in our Instagram, and we'll include at the very least like a link to where you can find the transcription of it. So
very
pretty
cool.
neat, I thought.
Yeah.
So because of this, if you can imagine, he is hanging out still. He kind of died very, very suddenly and is just, got nowhere else to go, I guess. So he continues to haunt room 13, which is where he lived and where he was killed. And those signs of him being there include phantom footsteps at night, cold spots, the feeling of being watched, and at least one report of seeing him as a full-bodied apparition in the room.
Wow.
Okay, then.
Yeah. So very, room 13 is apparently the room to be in. And,
that's some activity, man.
That's some activity. I think pretty cool. So the next room we're going to talk about is our grandma room, which gets shivers.
Old people. I don't like old people.
I don't think just old people ghosts freak you out. Just
old people in life freak me out, and then their ghosts. I'm like, no, just no,
get away. Well, you would like. I kind of like the grandma room. I think she's a pretty fun spirit. So it's said to be the home
I'm down
of.
For it then.
It's said to be the home of a very calm and kind spirit of an elderly woman. So the nickname of this room literally comes from the ghost. Who is supposedly died in that room and just now haunts it. And it started off the room when it was first purchased, and there was no name dropped for this, but there is a story about her from a family that bought the house and started renovating the room. And because I don't know how many people have owned it, I assume it might be Dennis Schranz and his family, but they weren't named, so I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. So in this room, there is, this old woman, there was a grandfather clock, and there was an old rocking chair. And I think that there were reports of her being tied to the rocking chair. No quite mention of creepy rocking on its own situation, but that's 100%.
Say,
that's my fucking nightmare.
Did the creepy shit.
Yeah.
Mine. I don't like the rocking chairs rocking on their own. That's not cool.
It is creepy.
Not cool.
It's not a cute look. I'm not gonna lie.
Ugh.
It's that creak sound. It's not great.
Yeah, it's that creaking that comes with it. It's not good.
Mm-hmm. But no, so this story with her, so she's generally thought to be very calm, benevolent, and she was said to appear in her rocking chair occasionally in the room, just show up sometimes, hanging out. And this grandfather clock was broken, except for it would chime at 2 a.m. Don't know why.
Awesome.
Just did. Probably that's when she died. Who knows?
Probably.
That would make sense, yeah.
That's my pure 100% speculation, but if you're gonna have a broken grandfather clock chime, not at 2 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Just 2
2
a.m.
a.m. Yeah.
Just 2 a.m. Yeah. So
That- that
it's
tracks.
extra broken. Very spooky. But the one time she has not been a benevolent ghost, apparently, was when this family first took over the Oliver house and started to do renovations. And
she didn't like it.
To guess,
they fucked with her
they
room.
messed up.
They fucked with her room.
They fucked with her room, and she started breaking shit.
Oh, it gets better. They had a son. And so they decided that was going to be his room. They're fixing up the place. They decided that was going to be his room. He's not like an old boy, but not like he's not a baby. So like, well, we don't need this grandfather clock and we don't need this rocking chair. So they tossed her stuff to the curb to set up his room. And they have, once they move in.
Bad move.
Such a bad move, right? Like, because it's not even like they moved her somewhere and
like,
she's
that's just like, this is
about
garbage.
Her room. They just this is garbage. This clock doesn't even work. Like, they're gone. So they had some friends over. I think the story went. I saw some people mention that they had some people over, but they sent him up to his room to go see it for the first time. And he came back down not long after, crying about how the mean old lady in his room yelled at him and hit him upside the head for moving her things.
I love that.
It's not his fault. He didn't move it.
I would totally whack someone upside the head.
And that's why I told you you'd like her. That's why I told you you'd like her.
It's not his fault. His parents moved it. Whack them upside the head.
Well, he's the one who went in there. He's like, this is my room. And she's like, I'll show you.
Bring the parents in there and she'll do it, I'm sure.
I'm sure she would. But no, so he went down and they were like, oh, our kid, he's so silly. Like, don't make up stories, honey. Go to bed. And
he's like,
sure
fuck that.
Well, a day or two later, they checked him again, and he had an actual bump on his head where he said that she hit him.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That's
so the story goes. And that's why I believe, like I said, could not find...
Did they fish that rocking chair and grandfather clock out of the garbage and put it back?
I don't know. It's not
continue to abuse them?
I would hope so.
It's not.
Again, another reason why we need to go there is to check. One of us. One of us has to stay in room 13. One of us has to stay in the grandma room, and then the next big bad room, the other person has to stay in. And if we need more people, we're getting your husbands involved.
Oh yeah, my husband will be like, "No, I'm not going." I'm just picturing her every night.
I just set up a camera in his room.
This kid. Fucking with this kid every night, like, Thunk, I told you to not throw my son's shit away.
Where's my chair, kid? No. So, it's funny because, so I looked online. I looked on the Oliver House's website, and you can, like, look at the rooms, and there's not, like, a lot of pictures, but I didn't see a rocking chair, so I don't know.
She's probably still pissed off.
She's supposedly... like still a nice ghost. Like it was it's maybe just an outburst about like how
she got her anger out and she's past it now. She's like, all right, I'm fine now. I'm fine.
We'll see. In theory, I don't know.
I mean,
like I said,
again, look at us. We consider ourselves little old ladies half the time. Like we're
true.
Bitter and petty as shit. I'd still be around smacking everybody upside the head.
Yeah.
Bring back my clock and my chair.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Something cozy to sit in. At least give
I know it's broken, but it's my fucking clock. Bring it back.
It's broken for a reason.
I broke it. Don't mess with me. But no, shit. And this, like, for sure, like I said, I could not find if this was tied specifically to that first family that bought it, the Schranz family or not. But part of me feels like it could be, because to me that would be a real big incidence of like, oh, I was a skeptic until
until my
that shit happened.
Not
but the goddamn well,
a whole bump on his head, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh,
oops.
Yeah, that totally tracks.
See, right? So Then we have really only one other haunted room called out to talk about. And this one, ladies, is where we get to a doozy. This one is...
Okay, so it works out. We've got free for free.
Yeah. But we're going to
All
have to...
right, I don't like the doozy. I don't want the doozy room. I'll take the old lady room.
No, thank you.
I'm an old lady. We'll bond.
I'll take whatever. I'm fine.
Okay. You know what? Joe, you already volunteered. You can't go back. I'm going to like, you know, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll hang out with Nat and just like we'll talk about his problems.
Commiserate.
Yeah.
Love it.
Amber will be like, "Don't be a whore and sleep with other people's spouses," and we wouldn't be here, buddy.
Yeah, we just have video of her with like a REM pod going, you did it to yourself, asshole. This has turned into therapy now. Let's go over your issues. Where did it start? Your mom or your dad? What happened?
That's it. That's our ghost hunting angle is we just
ghost therapy
the ghost. Yeah.
Love it.
History Channel, Travel Channel. One of you guys want to pick us up, right?
I fucking love that. I love it.
Amber, Joe, and Amy, ghost therapists. Yeah.
Yes.
I used to say
until we hit the ghost that is like, well, wait, let's talk about your issues. I'm like, oh
no, I'm done. No.
This street don't go both ways. No, I used to say my big thing is I want to have tea time with ghosts. Like I just want to be able to like have a cuppa and like just chit chat. Be like, so buddy, how's it
tell
going?
me what makes you tick. What's going on? What's happening?
Yeah.
Tea time. Give me all the gossip.
Yes. Tell me all about him. Like, was he an asshole? Like, was she happier with you or were you just delulu? Like, you got to tell me. Spill.
And also tell me all the shit you've seen over the years.
Yes.
Yeah. What has happened in this room? So, yeah. Nat and I are gonna have some hot goss. Amy's gonna chill with a grumpy old woman, and then Joe's gonna backpedal real fast because the last haunted room is the blue room, which was the scene of a mass murder committed by a jealous cop.
I don't think I've heard of this cop. But you know, you want to hear what's weird when you're saying how like they had like weird names and they were attached to like, I literally almost said, oh, like the blue room. You always hear about the blue room. What is it with ghosts and hauntings and bad things? There's always a room called the blue room.
It's something with the color blue. And I don't know that it's even always like blue. I think people just associate the color blue with sadness and tragedy. And so they just assign that name to it.
Oh my
God.
One,
as far as I know, I think it was blue because it used to be painted blue. There was another room called like the Purple Sage room, which didn't find like a named ghost there. It's just windows and doors kind of open and close on their own. I don't know why. They just do. But yeah, the blue room was, I think, used to be blue, named after the color. But it was another murder spot. And another site of an affair. So apparently people in the Oliver house are just getting busy.
There's nothing else to do in Bisbee.
I guess not. So here we have a police officer who was in 1932 in Bisbee, Arizona, and who knew that his wife was having an affair and had just started trying to essentially catch her in the act to prove it, to prove that, like, really just to know, but not, just to like know for his personal self-enclosure, as some people might, but to enact revenge on her and on her affair partner for doing this to him. So he did succeed in catching her in the Oliver house in the blue room. And when he saw her and her affair partner, he killed them both on the spot. He then supposedly killed 10 other people in the house. So this just
for happening
what
to be there.
Actual
what the fucking
yeah.
Wow.
So this is where like nearly a third of our supposed deaths come from in this house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
he supposedly, after this, like, he
Shot
kind
himself.
of just... Yes, so he went down
Of
to a
course.
nearby
Every fucking
river.
time. Why can't
Yep.
you start with that and leave everybody else alone?
Yep.
You're that miserable. Just fucking shoot yourself and leave everybody alone.
Because
Yeah.
they get angry and they act before they think, Amy. It's the same with
my
Family
God.
Annihilators. I'm going to take out everybody else, and then if I feel guilt, I'll take myself out. And some of them don't
Yep.
feel that guilt. This guy did. But
Mhm.
he took out
And, for a
complete
lot of things, too,
strangers.
That's the thing too, is like, not that, like, you know, not that I ever would like to
Condone
say, like,
shooting your spouse.
Absolutely not.
well, or, you know, like, not saying like, oh, just offing yourself is the answer either, but therapy is there, or writing in a journal, or leaving your spouse, like,
Just
so many other
divorcing
choices
somebody.
we could have made before we got here. But it's the 30s, and like, that is an affront, I guess, and that is
Therapy didn't exist. So
not a lot of ways to get out, especially not for like men. So you can drink the pain away, or I guess you can shoot the pain away, and he chose to shoot the pain away. And I guess a lot of that rage kind of led to just taking it out on anybody else he happened upon in the Oliver house after he saw that happen. And then, yeah, he supposedly left the Oliver house and then went to a nearby river. And that's where he kind of like took his own life. I'm sure everything else caught up to him, and he, like, maybe in a blind rage did a lot of things and was
left
like,
the scene of the crime.
Yeah,
took
I'm not
himself
gonna get away
somewhere
with this
peaceful
now.
and nice,
Yeah.
and took himself there. Like,
Yep.
everybody else has a horrible, violent death,
Yep.
but I'm gonna give myself a nice space for
Yep.
my death. Fucking asshole.
It
And maybe
is,
he didn't
and-
think it through, but good God.
but
That's
still, yeah,
bullshit.
murdering people is...
By the 10th person, you had time to think it through. Like,
Exactly.
like,
Mhm.
The 10th stranger you've
Yeah.
had time to think it through.
Jesus.
So
Not everyone
he
in
is-
that house was complicit in your wife's affair, okay?
Yes. Many people probably didn't know or didn't care. It had a population of, at one point, like, right, we said 25,000. Like, that's a lot of people to, like, I don't know.
You don't know everybody
so.
there. That's
Yeah.
a lot of fucking people. I barely know 10 people's names. Like,
Wow.
So
I was surprised I knew everyone's name at your 4th of July party from your family. I
Yeah.
was like, I remember
Yeah,
this
yeah.
person and this person.
That's a lot. 20 people is a lot of people.
It's a
Yeah,
lot of
it
people.
is.
But no, so this one I will say, spoilers, I don't have a death certificate on him, and I didn't probably at some point I'm gonna like get good enough at research so that I'm gonna get a like a subscription to some kind of a news repertoire where I can like look for death reports. Didn't do that for this one. So this is all, as far as I know, alleged. I don't have any like hard and fast names or details. I've got a few years and like a few events. And it's largely claimed that there was this scene, but I'll admit right now, I did not actively look for a news article. So,
I mean, it was the 30s in Bisbee. How easy would
That's
it be
it
to
too.
find? You know,
is like one of those things where it's like news articles aren't around forever, and like small enough towns at that point in time, or like isolated towns at that point in time. Like, I just don't know. I'm just gonna go on record and saying I'm reporting of this as a story of what happened. I personally did not check before this recording about whether or not it did actually happen, or like look into all the names of potential victims. Not to say it couldn't have happened. This could be a true story, slightly exaggerated. This could be, game of telephone. It could also be that it totally did happen and just, not as well known, or not as the records weren't kept as well. So throwing that one out there. So you guys can decide for yourself, when we inevitably go, because supposedly the hauntings that you experience because of this mass murder,
oh boy,
are real fun. If you can imagine.
I was
Joe's
gonna say
sleeping.
not as subtle.
I'm gonna
as
have
the
a
other
great
ones, I'm
time
guessing.
telling ghosts to shut the fuck up.
Oh yeah, it's so you hear 4 reports of phantom footsteps. Again, lots of moving around in this room. Furniture rearranging itself, and I didn't get info on like how. Like, is it?
If I wake up with a chair
over?
on top of me in the bed, I'm fucking slashing a ghost.
I feel like it's
I will
gonna
figure it out.
I feel like it's gonna be like furniture moved towards the door. Like somebody was trying to barricade themselves in, and they're
probably
reliving it.
Yes. And this is supposedly where a lot of the other ghosts in, and that makes sense with like the doors opening and shutting, like doors kind of slamming or windows opening and closing, like in some of these other rooms, like lots of little things happening, maybe even just residual hauntings of people trying to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Other than that, here's the super fun ones. You get for the low price of like $100 a night, you also could get the sounds of gunshots.
Okay.
Ooh. A voice crying out for help.
Oh boy.
Oh God.
And a dark and heavy presence that looms over you in the room.
That's me.
I don't want.
That's me.
That's the worst. That's no.
I'm not gonna feel it because that's me.
No.
That one to me, like
I'm the dark and heavy, depressed presence. Like you can't beat me, man.
No, that one, like, but that one to me says like whether because he only supposedly left. Like a lot of this is very touching.
Is it him or is it somebody else?
That dark presence, like the way it was described in some of the notes, like it not confirmed, but it makes me feel like it's him. Because it seems like very like angry, dark, like almost oppressive presence. So feels definitely like he is there, like kind of looming over.
Even if he left, it's like what did they say about ghosts? It's not just like the person that died.
It's sometimes the energy. Yeah.
It's the energy of what made it happen. It's like
the emotion.
scarring thing that So it's like
what do they
that
call
could just
it?
be a manifestation of like the emotions of like what somebody felt like leaning over them.
It's not a earlier residual haunting. That's what they call it, where it's literally just like a play-by-play of events that happened and the emotions that were attached to them. Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be very well it, especially with like the sounds of gunshots and like the screaming and stuff like that. Occasionally, like very much seems like residual, and it could just be very heavy energy because of what happened. And I mean, even if the 10 additional people are not true, and like this event just happened, like I'm sure that would still be a very heavy presence. But that is supposedly what you are in for if you can find yourself in the blue room.
So I got some real serious therapy to do with a ghost in there, is what I'm hearing. I got it.
Lots of.
I'm not a psychologist, but I will bring the tarot cards to do spicy psychology with them, and it'll be great.
Spicy psychology,
great.
Yeah. I love that. You know what? We'll all grab a deck. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure Grandma would be like, "What is this sorcery?"
She'll probably hit me upside the head with a deck of tarot cards.
But Amy, do you have tarot cards?
I do not, but I can get some.
Okay.
Oh, we can find you.
Amber and I need to buy you a pair. Yes, we will find you one.
Okay.
We have to find a deck that screams Amy.
That's the thing. It has to. Yeah, I have to bond with.
We got you.
Oh, it will be. Trust me. There's
plenty. Amber got me Hocus Pocus themed tarot cards for my birthday last year.
Perfect.
There's tons out there.
Literally almost anything you can imagine they have made into tarot cards, which is great.
Oh yeah.
Like, especially like, I'm a big fan of the spicy psychology. I have a couple of decks. So we'll all just sit there and we'll do, I'm not a trained therapist, but I can look at pictures on cards.
I got tarot cards. Yeah, I can tell you what I'm feeling with this.
I love it.
Now, buddy, this one says that like you need to be a little better with money, I think.
Yeah.
So,
this one says that you have like some self-victimization going on.
Yeah.
Like maybe you took it out on other people.
This card tells me you should just keep it in your fucking pants, buddy, and stop.
Hey, in my man Nat, because apparently that's the room I'm saying, and so I'm like bonded now. But in my man Nat's defense, it does take two to tango. So
Yep.
Yes, it does.
The wife is just as guilty. Yep.
But yes, so that with that lovely conversation and our future plans, that does bring us to the end of the hauntings in the Oliver House.
All right.
Those are all
lots of
the
footsteps, lots of doors closing, lots of anonymous
Dancing
ghosts,
figures.
possibly part of a mass murder from a guy who couldn't fucking regulate his emotions.
Yes,
Shocker.
but from someone who really needs to learn how to take
Cop
deep
who
breaths.
couldn't regulate his emotions. Even more surprising.
I mean, are we surprised by that? Just
I'm gonna confirm or deny my surprise. Plead the fifth on that one.
I have the right to remain silent on that one.
Yeah, that's the joke I'm
There you
looking
go.
for. Good job. You got it, Amy. All right. So, I think I've already got the answer since we're planning our sleeping arrangements. But with all of that, what do you think? Would you be willing to stay the night in the Oliver House in Bisbee, Arizona?
absolutely. I want to do fucking therapy with this ghost. Let's go.
That's awesome.
Fucking go, man.
I can at least steal Amber's idea and go have some tea with the ghost and see
Tea
what
time
That
with
too,
ghosts.
yes.
tea time.
Oh, and then we'll do a different version of spicy psychology, which is tea leaf reading, which is also very fun. So
done.
because that
I
way
like
you're
it.
also
I like
still
it.
just looking at shapes. Yeah, it's always good.
I can interpret whatever the fuck I want from this, and I see a dick, and that means you were a dick and needed to keep it in your pants.
And literally, just like, if grandma doesn't like it, like, at least she probably likes tea. Everybody does.
Yeah, I mean, you can't lose with that, right?
Can't go wrong.
Give her a little offering of some, like, macarons or a cucumber sandwich or something. She'll be fine.
Yeah, just like a single little cucumber sandwich and like the tiniest cup of tea, and be like,
I mean, if she's stuck there with these assholes in the same house, she's probably like, tell me everything.
Yes. Bring me a rocking chair. We are good. So, well, good news on our travel notes. And with that, we will go down to, I have literally one more image. So you can totally stay in the Oliver House. It is now a family-owned business, so it has kind of passed down a few families. It was acquired by new owners in June of 2023 and was in the process of being revitalized. All the rooms appear to be up and revitalized and ready for bookings again. So you can rent out a room because it is an active Airbnb, but it is adults only, so it's also
even better.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a true adults weekend. You can also rent out the whole house. They do like weddings and events and stuff like that. So very cool, cute little business. They, as you can see by that last image, they definitely lean into their kind of haunted reputation. And then one thing I did want to see, you'll see a link below, and it is bisbeeoliverhouse.tumblr.com. So a previous owner, before the purchase and renovation, a previous owner started a Tumblr to try to entice people to buy the Oliver House, because they were, I don't know if they were the realtor or if they were personally selling it or what, but it shows all of like these beautiful historic pictures of the Oliver House. So I will definitely link that Tumblr so you guys can like see it either in training or on Instagram.
The old names of these rooms are in one of the images on this, and it's String Bean, Peach Pit, Passion Flower.
Yeah, I told you.
Mimosa is the name of one of the rooms.
That's my room.
Well, unfortunately, with the revitalization, all of the rooms
they've all been
very
changed.
uniform.
Yeah.
And it's all numbered.
Oh no.
So.
You guys might speak to ghosts. I can go in there and speak to the mimosa room. Like, it will show me the way.
It will channel through you. Yes. It was, but on top of kind of leaning into this ghosty reputation, they have got signs with like little ghosts that say Oliver House this way and things like that. They also have a whole page on their website. So it's like literally, I think like oliverhousebisbee.com. And that's where you can book rooms. They have a whole page dedicated to paranormal, essentially, investigators who have gone there and like evidence that was caught. It was actually even featured on an episode of Ghost Adventures with
I need to watch this.
Ed Hardy lover Zach Baggins himself. I think it was like a twofer. I think they were doing the Copper Queen and in the area decided
sounds about right.
House.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of there. So they also advertise it as like your haunt away from home. And because of all of the ghost affiliations, they do allow paranormal investigators to come and visit. They can charge a small fee depending on like what your needs are. I don't know that they would for like somebody staying in a room asking questions, but like as far as I know, like they will let paranormal investigators kind of like book the whole place and like do a full on investigation. So that is, I think, pretty cool as well.
Very
and
cool.
if you're looking for other things to do in Old Bisbee, which it overlooks, there is the Copper Queen, which is, like I said earlier, another haunted hotel. There's also a few fun places they totally lean in. There's the Bisbee Seance Room, which is a Victorian style, a quote unquote Victorian style magic show, and primer into the mystery and history of Bisbee.
With magic.
We are so going to Bisbee, you guys.
So going to Bisbee. October Bisbee trip. That's what I'm saying. And they also have the Old Bisbee Ghost Tour Company, which offers a few different types of tours. So they've got like walking tours, driving tours, and even, Amy, you will love, a pub crawl.
Oh,
yes! These are my people!
We need 2 nights. 1 night for the pub crawl, because by the time we get back, we're going to be too drunk to do anything.
We cannot hunt anything.
Second night will be ghost hunting in the hotel.
Yes. See, but knowing our luck, like the ghosts will want to talk after the pub crawl night. We'll be like, shh.
We have cameras set up in our rooms for those nights to still catch anything. Sure. It'll probably be me telling the ghost to shut the fuck up and go to bed. But
maybe. That's legit. Or we can do the pub crawl and end up at the glamping tents, and then the next night
that's another good idea. Yes, we will have to discuss plans for this. I like this.
Yes.
Winter vacation, guys. I love
it. Yes. I love October, November, like that little bridge.
Ooh, yes.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
Will our boss like Amy and I taking the same days off? Who cares?
But yeah, so that is, I mean, we're excited for it. I definitely think, if you're looking for cool spots in Arizona, like, haven't been, can't vouch for sure, but Bisbee seems like a cool place if you are, especially if you're into the paranormal. So take that for what you will. All right, ladies. So once again, everyone, I am Amber.
And I'm Amy.
And I'm Joe.
And this has been Murderous, Mysterious, and Macabre. If you like this episode, please consider reviewing and sharing our show. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and this video. And if you like what we do and you want to have a little bit of a hand in helping us cover more macabre places, then you can also join our Patreon. And that will be linked in the comment section below and the description of the video and on pretty much everything else that we do. So that's all from me.
Bye.